Knowledge is power, and I know a lot.
So I know how much people hate long introductions, so I'm going to at least try to keep it short. The purpose of this video is to show what Magic the Gathering style drafting would look like in Hearthstone. And the shortest way I can describe it for anyone who's never played it is that you draft with 7 other players. You have more cards to choose from the start, and the cards that you do not pick are actually sent on to the next player. You then create a deck with those cards, but you don't actually use all of the cards. So you have some flexibility in your picks. And when everyone's created their deck, you actually play against the other players you drafted with. So there's a lot more subtle strategy, and you have to pay more attention to which type of cards are being passed around and such. So the way I set it up is that we'll go through 3 packs of 15 cards. We do not actually select a class in the beginning like in Hearthstone. The packs will contain class cards from different classes. We're going to end up with 45 cards, and then we'll create a 30 card deck out of those. That way it's possible to pick different class cards to keep your options open during the draft, but when we're actually creating the deck, we obviously have to stick to one class. Now, this is just a fun experiment. It's not something I actually want in the game. First of all, it's completely unrealistic to hope for it. It's obviously never going to happen, and it's a bit too complicated, impractical, and not really suitable for mobile platform and so on. However, there is a tiny bit of hope in me that maybe someday some organizer will create a tool for this, for like a special event, much like when TempoStorm created the sealed deck generator and there was the Red Bull Team Sealed event. I would, for example, love seeing an event with 8 players, maybe 4 of the top arena players and 4 top ranked players drafted out. It's probably never going to happen, but I can hope. But enough introduction, let's move on to the actual draft. It's going to be me drafting against 7 other versions of me. I had to do a little bit of role playing and play the other drafters as well. But we will obviously only see it from the perspective of one player. So let's begin. Okay, pack 1, pick 1. This is the first time I'm drafting this style, so I'm not sure what the optimal strategy is. If you want to pick class cards early to keep your options open, or if you just want to go for the best neutrals to get a more consistent deck. There's a legendary in this pack, Mukla. We're not picking that. I'm looking at 2 good shaman cards and 2 good warrior cards. Those are the ones I'm most attracted to. Dark Iron Dwarf is good as well. I'm probably gonna go with either warrior or shaman just because there's a chance the class card I don't pick gets passed around, because we're actually gonna pick another card from this pack later. Yeah, let's try a warrior card. I'm gonna take the Arathi Weaponsmith. So pick number 2, there seem to be less class cards in this. There's a really good neutral Bog Creeper. The Forbidden Ancient I think is really good and flexible as well. But I'm probably just gonna take the Bog Creeper. You're always happy to have one of those in your decks. So yeah, Bog Creeper. So pick number 3, there's a Princess here, which is probably better in this format compared to normal arena, since you can actually get more death rattles easier. I still don't think Hunter is good enough, probably. None of the neutral cards are instant picks for me, so I'm probably actually going to take the True Silver Champion, keep our options open. We couldn't go into Warrior if we get more Warrior cards, or possibly into Paladin, which is a really strong class. So True Silver Champion is the pick. Pack number 4. We have a Steward if we want to keep going the Paladin route. We also have Nasat's First Mate and Fiery War Axe. Both really good warrior cards. So I'm leaning towards one of them. Councilman could be good in this format since you could easily get a suit type deck, but I probably don't want to get into 3 different classes in the first 4 packs. So let's go with warriors, and out of those 2 the Fiery War Axe should be best, so that's the pick. So pack number 5 doesn't have any paladin or warrior cards. The Imp Gang Boss would have been great if we took the Councilman in the previous pack. So maybe another Warlock player will be happy seeing both of those passed around. So I'm mainly looking at the Grand Crusader, Fell Reaver, maybe the Huge Toad or the Berserker. I think I actually like the Amani Berserker. We might be going into Warrior, and it has synergy with Warrior cards in general, so I'll just take the Amani Berserker. So pack number 6, I'm looking at the Shambler, maybe a Light in the Darkness if we want to keep Paladin as an option. Cult Master, Twisted Worgen, also fine picks. Yeah, this is gonna get tougher and tougher because obviously all the good cards have already been picked from the packs going forward. We could take a Faceless Shambler. We do have a Bog Creeper to copy. Maybe we'll end up with more big stuff. Or we go for another 2-drop. We only have 1 so far. I'm gonna take the Faceless Shambler. We'll see if we find a deck for it. So pick number 7. No Paladin or Warrior cards here either. Big Game Hunter, not as good anymore. The Aberrant Berserker is pretty good. Fits Warrior if we're going into that. Recombobulator is fine as well, but I'm gonna pick the Berserker here. Okay, so the last pack until we return to the pack we started with, we actually have a Warrior card here, Inner Rage, which should be pretty good. We've taken a Amani Berserker and an Aberrant Berserker already, obviously a very good synergy. So let's just snap pick Inner Rage. So this is the first pack coming back around again, and we're obviously happy to see that the Ravaging Ghoul is still in it. Probably a Shama player is going to be happy that the Master of Evolution is around as well. So yeah, let's just pick the Ravaging Ghoul. So in this pack I'm immediately looking at the Spiteful Smith. We have ways to trigger Enrage, and we also have weapons, so it fits the deck perfectly. So let's pick that one. Okay, next pack. No love for the Princess. Probably no one wants to play Hunter. We have weapons, but we actually only have one that's a real weapon. The others are created through minions. So I'm not so sure the Blackwater Pirate is that strong. But we're not taking the Oracle or the Villager either. Could maybe go for the Warhorse Trainer, since there is a slight chance we could still get back into Paladin if there are some really good Paladin cards coming up in the next packs. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna play the Blackwater Pirate even if we end up playing Warriors. So let's just take the Warhorse Trainer, keep the Paladin option as a backup. And we're obviously happy to see this pack since we're snap picking Nasat's First Mate. Excellent 1-drop for Warriors. So let's see, we're Warriors, we're probably not gonna use our hero power that much, so neither Fencing Coach nor Dragon Hawk Rider are very appealing. We're gonna hit a lot with weapons, so Voodoo Doctor could be useful, but probably none of these cards are gonna end up in a deck, but let's pick the Voodoo Doctor. Okay, out of these two cards, we're probably taking the Wobbling Runs. Yeah. And the final pick from the first pack will be a Shadow Boxer that we're obviously not going to use. So to summarize the first pack and the first 15 cards, we're quite heavily into Warrior. We have 5 class cards. We have Paladin as a bit of a backup, but it's probably going to be Warrior. Most class cards also we've picked neutrals that fit better with the Warrior class, such as the Spiteful Smith and the 2 Berserkers. So it looks like Warrior, but there are plenty of cards to pick left, so it's still possible that we might switch over to Paladin if we get some really good Paladin cards in the next pack. So let's continue. So in this pack we don't have that many class cards. We do have Divine Strength for Paladin, which is a decent enough card, but not nearly good enough to tempt us back into Paladin. Frost Giant, we're not going to use our hero power much. Hobgoblin, we don't have minions that fit that guy. Zombie Chow is always a decent. Acolyte of Pain could be good. We have whirlwind type effects in the deck and in a rage cards like that. But the same goes for Hogger, and I think that could fit this deck well. Also, the Acolyte of Pain has a higher chance of coming back around, so that we might be able to pick that one later. So yeah, let's go with the legendary Hogger. Okay, second pack, second pick. We have Avenge, same thing again, decent Paladin card but not good enough to sway us back. Obviously not taking Blood of the Ancient One. Not a great pack for us at all. Not sure which fits our deck best. We might just go for a Spider Tank since it's a decent enough 3-drop, and we only have a Ravaging Ghoul right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Spider Tank. Still no Warrior cards. Nothing really stands out. Nerubian Prophet is fine, Psychotron fine, the Drake is fine, Matter Bomber is alright as well. Has some synergy with our deck and rage and stuff, so we might go for that one. Saga the Slitherer could be useful as well. It's a decent card. Well, let's just go with the legendary, it's more fun. Maybe Matter Bomber, Psychotron, or the Nerubian can wheel around and we'll pick that up later. So I'll go with the Soggoth. Okay, another pack without warrior cards. If you're not familiar with Magic, you're actually passing your cards in one direction with the first pack and a second direction with the second pack. So it could be that we have a warrior to the left of us that are taking all the warrior cards, or we're just being unlucky with the packs. So in this one I'm probably looking at another Spiteful Smith, so yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, fifth pack, I'm immediately looking at some pretty good cards. Some Shaman is going to be very happy. Lotheb is probably not as good as it used to be in this format, since there are less spells. And I think the pick for us is completely obvious. It's the warrior card Frothing Berserker. So easy pick. The fact that there was a Frothing Berserker in the previous pack also makes us very happy, because it means it's very unlikely we have a warrior drafter to the left of us, since that's almost going to be the best pick unless there was a really premium card in that pack. And we're seeing another warrior card being passed now, so yeah, we're gonna take that immediately. Having 2 Nasat's first mate in the deck seems good. We can hopefully quite reliably get it out on turn 1. So let's pick that immediately. Okay, we have a legend that's being passed around. There's no love for Nat Pagel so far. Infested Wolf, we keep seeing good Hunter cards being passed around. I think no one wants to get into Hunter unless they change their direction mid-game. Princess Huhuran and this synergize, for instance. So let's see, what are we looking at? Nothing that's perfect for a warrior deck. I'm gonna check our curve. We could use 2 drops. We have a few big minions already, so we're probably gonna take the Stone Splinter Trog. It's a pretty boring card and hopefully it won't end up in our deck, but just in case we have a lack of 2 drops, and that's my pick. Okay, the final pack in this second round, then we get back to our first pack again. Let's see, again, good Hunter cards being passed around. I'm mainly looking at the Mad Bomber. We don't really have a card for Faceless Manipulator, I think. And like, we still need 2 drops. Mad Bomber also sort of works with all the Enrage-like mechanics in the deck. So yeah, let's go with the Mad Bomber. Okay, so this pack is back and no one's going for the Frost Giant or the Hobgoblins, but we actually have the Acolyte of Pain back, so yeah, we're definitely keeping that. Fits our deck very well. So yeah, Acolyte of Pain it is. Okay, so there's nothing really good in this pack. 10-10 for 10 is not very good. Made enough to Lake, not that useful in our deck. Actually, now that I see Blood of the Ancient One, I start thinking about the Faceless Manipulator we passed. Maybe someone picks that combination up and lose all their games. Obviously not taking the Ogre Ninja. Zealous Initiate. I don't really think it fits our deck, so I'm just gonna take the... yeah, I'll just take the Demolisher, but we're probably not gonna end up using it. And in this pack, Naga Sea Witch doesn't fit our deck. Dragonkin Sorcerer, not that much. That's basically only in a rage. I think we probably take the Eldritch Horror. We might not end up playing it, but the stat distribution is better than the Blood of the Ancient one and the 10-10 for 10. So yeah, let's go with the Horror. Okay, so whatever we pick here, we're probably not gonna play. We could try to hate draft something. If you don't know what that is, that's when you're intentionally picking a card you won't use just so that no one else gets the opportunity to take it. It's something you can do when there's nothing really attractive in the pack, so you could try to ruin it for the Warlock or the Priest player, for instance. But I'm probably just gonna take the Raid Leader. We're not very likely to use it. Okay, in this pack, not taking the junk bot, we don't have much spells for the Kobold. In fact, we have cards like Inner Rage where you don't really want the spell damage. So Cult Apothecary, that's the pick. So not very likely to play any of these. 2 damage to all minions is 1 more damage than we want for all our Enrage-like triggers. We're probably not gonna play the Grunt, so doesn't really matter which one we pick. I think it's more likely that the next player has use for a card like Explosive Sheep, so let's just take it so they don't get it. And the final card is Nat Pagle gets wheeled around the whole way, so he ends up among our picks. So to summarize, we didn't get many more class cards, only 2 more, but they were good ones. Frothing Berserker we're very happy about, and a second Nasat's First Mate. But overall, a so-so second round. Hopefully we can pick up some more good warrior cards or synergistic cards in the third pack. So let's move on to that. Okay, final round of picks. No warrior cards. Let's see if there are any cards that fit our deck very well. Nothing stands out, so I think probably just a legendary Nefarian is the best. It's not a super premium card, I think, but there's not really any competition among these picks, so we'll go with the Nefarian. So a second pack, we have Muster for Battle, which is insane of course, but it's way too late at this point to start getting into Paladin, obviously. What else? What else? Cult Master. Bilefin Tidehunter. We still could use 2 drops, so that might be an option. Wild Pyro, we don't really have spells for that. Master Jouster. Spider Tank is alright. Cult Master could work as well. Pretty poor options overall. South Sea Deckhand is okay since we have a little bit of weapon going on. The Deckhand is quite likely to wheel around probably, so let's just go with the Bilefin Tidehunter just in case we end up with not a lot of options for 2 drops. So that's the pick, though we're not really happy about it. Okay, let's see. Crazy good hunter cards. I'm a bit worried that there's gonna be one hunter with just a crazy deck, because someone's taking them, although they haven't been picked early in previous packs. I think there's someone who's probably started taking hunter cards in the second and third pack, and they're gonna have probably quite a strong deck. Whereas we haven't seen that many paladin cards or warrior cards since after the first pack, so we're probably fighting against another player for those. Anyway, let's get back to this pack. What looks interesting? Nothing really. MC Tech could be a good card, turns games around every now and then. Could still use 2 drops, but River Croc is not really good enough. Yeah, 2 pretty boring packs in a row. We're just gonna take MC Tech. So next pack, does it have anything that fits our deck? Not really. None of the Inspire cards, obviously. None of the class cards, obviously. Maybe Argent Commander. Corrupted Healbot is alright as well, just good stats. And we're not going to be playing any type of aggro deck or anything like that, so we don't care too much about the Death Rattle. Recombobulator could be useful as well. Force Tank Max is alright. So it's a third pack in a row without a solid pick. I think I'm probably going to go with the Argent Commander. Yeah, let's go with that. So, pick number 5 in the last round. Nothing that really stands out yet again. These are all pretty bad. Let's look at the curve. Let's compare Stormwind Knight and Scaled Nightmare. We have 2 6 drops. We have 3 4 drops. So we need both, especially 4s, but 6s as well. So it's probably one of those. I'm not sure we're going to play the Faceless Shambler, so let's go with the 4 drop. Let's take the Stormwind Knight, just so we don't get an awkward curve. So that's the pick. So this third round has not really been going very well for us at all. Duskboar is terrible in general and even worse in our deck, so we need 2 drops, but not that one. Silver Moon Guardian, meh. I think it's the Matter Bomber. Did we pick the previous one? No, we didn't. It probably didn't wheel around, so let's pick it this time. It has synergy with our cards. Okay, finally, something for us. It's not always gonna trigger, we don't have that many pirates, but we do have the double Nasat's first mate, so with a little bit of luck you can get that synergy going in the early game. So we're definitely taking the Bloodsail Cultist. This must have been a really good pack from the beginning, if there's a Keeper of Uldaman, Faceless Summoner still in it. Yeah, I wonder what it contained. I actually know what it contained. So yeah, we're taking the Bloodsail Cultist. Okay, let's see what we have here. Some class cards we can't use. Another Spiteful Smith. We already have 2. But then again, none of the other cards are that attractive. Draconid Crusher is alright. How are we for 3 drops? Because the Horse Rider is fine as well. We actually have a decent amount of 3 drops. 5 neutrals, though we're probably not using 2 of them. So let's say 3 and 3 warrior cards. Not counting the War Axe. So we actually have plenty of 3s. Yeah, let's take a 3rd Spiteful Smith, I guess. Okay, so this is the first pack we looked at from the 3rd round. Back again. Let's see. We don't really have a deck for Mukla, I think. Elven Archer could be used to trigger and Rage. I haven't played enough with Validated Doomsayer to know how well it works. It seems like a very unreliable card. It's probably good when you're already ahead and terrible otherwise, and I'm not really a fan of that type of cards. I'm probably just gonna take the Elven Archer. The ping effect can be useful. Let's just take a quick look at the 2 drops first. We are gonna need 2 drops, and there's not that many picks left. Yeah, for that reason I actually take the Micro Machine instead. So that's the pick. Okay, let's see. I think we have 2 decent options here. We have the Cult Master. We don't really have... Do we have any type of card draw in the deck so far? Not really, unless you count Nefarian. And of course we have the Acolyte of Pain, so yeah, that's definitely card draw. Weapons, we have 2 Nasat's First Mate and a War Axe. So we're gonna... and the Weaponsmith, so we're actually gonna have a weapon quite a lot. So I guess we can go with the deckhand since none of the other cards are super strong anyway. Oh, and also the deckhand is a pirate, which can trigger our cultist. So let's see. Also pretty boring pack. I guess it's the Dread Corsair. Actually, that's quite alright. We don't have a lot of 4 drops. It might have cost reduction since we have weapons and it's a pirate, so actually that's a pretty good pick. Let's go with the Corsair. Okay, we're getting close to the end. We could go for the Silence, but the Owl is a little bit expensive these days. Novice Engineer for the card draw. I think we're probably just gonna take the Recombobulator. It can be pretty good sometimes, and it's also just good enough to drop onto if you need to. So that's the pick. Okay, Mad Scientist, we obviously are not playing with any secret. The Power Rager, not really that good in our deck. So do we go for Blood Mage Thalmos? What possible use do we have for it other than card draw? Not much really, but I guess it's also the card that's the most likely to be helpful for one of the two players we're passing these cards on to, so let's just take it for that reason. Okay, this doesn't matter at all since we won't be playing any of these. I don't think anyone else is gonna play it either, so the only consideration here is if the next player has a 10 cost minion in his hand, or if he's playing Hunter and has Beast Synergy. I guess Beast Synergy is slightly more likely, so let's just take the Duskboar for that reason. And the final pick of this draft will be the Goldshire Footman. Okay. So it's time to build the deck. We're gonna build a 30 card deck, obviously, so we'll be removing 15 cards. So let's see, we're obviously not playing the 2 Paladin cards and the Shadow Boxer cards, so those we can remove right away. And then we are going to play all of the Warrior cards. And then we start looking at the neutrals. So let's take the ones we are likely to play first, and then we'll see what we need. So we can probably play the deckhand, Pirate Synergy, Weapon Synergy. The best 2-drops are probably the Mad Bomber and the Berserker. Maybe we take Trog. I think that's going to be a problem, the 2-drops. Let's begin with those 3. For 3-drops, Spider Tank is pretty solid. Acolyte of Pain fits the deck. And maybe we can try MC Tech out. 4-drops, definitely taking Dread Corsair. We don't have many 4-drops, so we're taking the Stormwind Knight and the Aberrant Berserker as well. I don't think this is a deck for Faceless Shambler, but I'm not really sure. So 5-drops, we could go... Actually, we can't go triple Spiteful Smith, because we can't construct a deck that way. Would be fun to go full Spiteful though. So yeah, but we're playing 2 of them. So 2 Spiteful Smith and Matter Bomber, definitely. So that's just 3. Maybe we could go with Occult Apothecary. We're gonna use weapons a lot, so we're gonna take a bit of face damage, so that could help us stay active with the weapon a little longer. So let's go with that one. We have very few 6-drops. Not sure I want to play the Wobbling Runs, but we can play the Argent Commander, so let's put that in. And Bog Creeper definitely, Hogger definitely. Probably passing on the Eldritch Horror and going for the 2 9-drops instead. Soggoth and Nefarian. So that leaves 3 cards. So let's look at the curve. We only have 3 2-drops. We have a lot of 3-drops, only 4 4-drops, 4 5-drops. So we mainly need 2 2-drops. Probably Recombobulator and Bilefin Tidehunter are the best 2 out of those left. I think I'd rather have the Recombobulator than the Micro Machine. So we still have 1 card to pick. Could go for the Micro Machine just to make sure we have plenty of 2-drops. You never really want a hero power on turn 2 as a warrior. So let's just add the Micro Machine as well. So let's see what we ended up with. This is the final deck. I'm not gonna read all the cards out since you can see it for yourselves. I think it looks alright. It's not great. It's not terrible either. There's some synergy going on. We have Weapons from the double first mates, we have a fiery war axe and we have the Arathi weaponsmith, and those can be buffed by the double spiteful smith, and we have Hogger, Matter Bomber, the three different berserkers. We have Ravaging Ghoul, Acolyte of Pain, another Mad Bomber, so an Inner Rage as well. So there's actually a lot of synergy, dealing small amounts of damage and triggering on that, and rage effects and such. So I think this deck will work out alright. We have a Pirate synergy as well, with the Dread Corsair, Bloodsail Cultist, Double Nasot's First Mate, and the Deckhand. So I think it's alright. It's hard to say when you haven't drafted this format before. But anyway, it was a fun experiment to do. There are probably many ways to tweak it. You can adjust the number of class cards to neutrals, or change the ratio of legendary epics and rares. But I think overall I got a pretty good balance for being the first attempt at this. So I hope you really enjoyed watching it. It took me a hell of a lot of time to actually edit, because that's so many image files that need to show up and disappear at the right position at the right moment. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like or a follow, or upvote on Reddit, or follow me on Twitch or whatever. I would be very grateful, and I'll see you around.